What up, YouTube? You already know Big Lou tapping back in. One more again. What it do? Big Blue NFZR2. Baby. Bye. So check it out. As you guys can tell from that thumbnail, I know everybody can tell from the thumbnail, this obviously is a baseball video, right? And so I want to try to get back to doing what, the majority of the main topics of this original for this channel that were originally for this channel, right? Which is sports, baseball, football, basketball, boxing, UFC, pro wrestling, and I haven't done many baseball videos, football videos, even basketball videos. Majority's been boxing and UFC lately for a while, right? And so I want to try to get back into doing a mixture of things like I was. It's just like I said before, it's real hard to keep up with all the politics that's going on too, since now that I included politics on the video. So as you can see, I got a brand new fresh hat on. I've had this hat for a couple years, haven't worn it though. First time I'm wearing it. Because as you guys know, Oak Town, baby on mines, right? Warriors, Raiders, and A's all day, a day. And it ain't gonna change, even though if they move, it don't matter. Um, because I'm Mark. You see the Raiders there, you know what I'm saying? The Warriors over here, the A's, like I just showed, right? So it is what it is. So, anyways, I want to talk about 1986, the rookie class of 1986, right? It's a hell of a class. I mean, for the first, especially, I mean, you got some big name players there. A few of them should be in the Hall of Fame that ain't in the Hall of Fame, and from my what I've looked up, I only find one player from that draft class or from that rookie class of '86 that's actually in the Hall of Fame. I've only found one, even though there should be like two or three more. Um, and then depending on who you are, obviously some of the fans are going to believe that certain players belong in the Hall of Fame, but ultimately the sports writers are the ones that vote for this. And depending if they had a personal relationship with some of these players, like if they happen to be, writing for a paper or a magazine from Texas, and they dealt with the Texas Rangers or the Houston Astros a lot. There might be some players that were on the teams that they didn't like, that they didn't get along with too well, or they had some, some beef, so therefore they don't vote for them, right? We've seen that a lot. You see guys talk about, for example, Barry Bonds. He was an asshole to the reporters. Barry Bonds is part of this class too. Not so much draft class, but this rookie class of '86, Major League Baseball, right? So we got a ton of guys, right? We got Canseco, who was the rookie of the AL Rookie of the Year that year. And he also was the 1988 MVP. He also in '88 was the first 40-40 man in baseball. Um, he almost had close to 500 home runs, 462 home runs, which he ended up, I believe, his last season in baseball, he was like 37 years old. He was still able to go. I mean, he still probably would have hit a good 15 to 20 home runs a season for another 3 or 4 years, probably. I would imagine. You know what I'm saying? If he got to the right team. At the end of his career, he's with the Yankees. The Yankees. This was during the time the Yankees were always in the race for the pennant, for the World Series championship, and therefore, the Yankees had their team already, their roster set up. Even Canseco on that new show that he's on, Off My Chest on YouTube, he even said he was told by Joe Torre that don't think you're gonna play much because I already have my squad. You know what I'm saying? Which he did, right? Um, and so, anyways, Canseco played from '85 was his debut year, but he actually didn't have enough at bats and all that to be considered his rookie season, which was 1986. He won the AL Rookie of the Year. The NL Rookie of the Year was Royale of the Todd Royale. I don't know why I said it Royal. It's WORRELL. Royal Todd Royale, and he won the National League Rookie of the Year. He was a closer. He had a good amount of saves that season, and he became the National League Rookie of the Year. Other rookies that came out that season were Will Clark, first baseman for the San Francisco Giants. He had a nice, pretty swing. They called him the Natural. They called him Will the Thrill, right? He was part of the Giants team that went to the World Series in '89, as well as his teammate Kevin Mitchell was also a rookie that season. Kevin Mitchell won the National League MVP that season in 1989 when they lost in the World Series to the A's. What I forgot to say about Canseco, he was part of the three A's teams that went to back. They went to three World Series back to back to back. They only won one out of three. They were beat by the Dodgers in '88. They won the '89 against the Giants, which was considered what was called the Bay Series, the Bay Bridge Series, excuse me, because the Bay Bridge is the difference between Oakland and San Francisco. That's what separates the two cities: the Bay Water and the bridge. And then they lost in 1990 to the Reds, which, since I'm bringing up the Reds, Barry Larkin was on the Reds. He's the only one that I can find that actually is a Hall of Famer from that year, from that '86 rookie class. You also had Wally Joyner, first baseman for the Angels. He came second in the voting for Rookie of the Year to Canseco. After Canseco admitted to steroid use and all that, excuse me, I don't know why I'm saying that again. Wally Joyner was expecting Major League Baseball to take away the Rookie of the Year from Canseco and give it to him. He said he deserved it. Whatever. Right? We also had Ruben Sierra, rookie that season out of the Texas Rangers, Puerto Rican cat. Right? Ruben Sierra, he had some nice explosive seasons with the Rangers. He played also with the Yankees, and he probably bounced around a little. Oh, he played with the A's too, matter of fact. Barry Bonds, 762 home runs, number one all-time home run leader. Most home runs in a season, 73 in 2003 or 2001, excuse me. He's been to a couple World Series himself. Let me see. They lost to the Angels in '03. Before that, he was part of the Pirates that were in the fight every year with the Braves for the National League pennant. We also have his teammate Bobby Bonilla. He's bounced all over the place in baseball. White Sox, the Pirates, the Marlins, the Mets. He's been all over. He's played with a lot of teams. Then we got the big cat, Andres Galarraga, Venezuelan. Started his career with the Expos, and then he had a nice stint with the Rockies. He finished his career with 399 home runs. From those numbers alone, you would say, but then you got guys like Gary Carter that's in there, and you got guys, that have less home runs than him. You would think he would be in there. You got John Kruk came out that season as well. Started out with the Padres, kind of fizzled out a lot, and then he with the Philadelphia Phillies when they went to the World Series. In those early '90s, he came back as his career got a big how would I say, a big like a second win, so to speak. You know what I mean? He was part of that. Darren Dalton, who was another member of this class. It was Darren Dalton, Scott Rawlins. Who else was there? Mitch Williams, who's another one of this. Terry Mulholland. You know what I mean? These guys are also '86 rookies. Pete Incoglia, played with the Rangers. He played with a few teams, but he had some decent seasons. And let me say this too: most of these guys that I'm going to be naming, they all had pretty long careers. Like none of these guys had played less than 10 seasons in baseball, Major League Baseball. A lot of them had upwards in the teens, 14 years and on. So we also got his teammate Corey Snyder from the Indians. Calavilla came up with the Rangers, but he also played with the Indians too, I believe. Corey Snyder, like I said, he was out in the outfield with Joe Carter. We got Danny Tartabull, came up with the Royals. His dad played with the A's, Jose Tartabull, back in the day. He was a power hitter, had some good seasons. Matter of fact, Canseco had talked about how Danny Tartabull and Rafael Palmeiro were, those were his seniors. Those were the badass ball players on his high school team. And he was just a mediocre player. He says, you know what I mean? Not Tartabull or Palmeiro. I'm talking about Jose Canseco. And then you got Bo Jackson, his teammate, right? The running back for the Raiders and outfielder for the Kansas City Royals. 91. He got injured in '91 in football. never was the same. He went on to play with the White Sox after that, but he just never was the same with that hip injury. Um, Robbie Thompson, second baseman for the Giants, another guy, long, solid 10-year career. Um, all I believe he played all with the Giants, but he was part of that. Will Clark, Will Clark, Matt Williams at third, Will Clark at first, Jose Uribe at shortstop, second baseman Robbie Thompson, that solid infield of the Giants. He was part of that '89 World Series team as well, with Kevin Mitchell and Brett Butler. You know what I mean? And I named Mitch Williams, Wild Thing. He's in here. Um, Randy Myers, another strong relief pitcher. Here's some other guys. Cecil Fielder. You guys remember him? First baseman. Well, he came up with the Blue Jays. Decent hitter. You know, he was decent, a power hitter. Um, but that team was stacked. You know, you had Fred McGriff, you had George Bell, you had Lloyd Mosley, you had Jesse Barfield. You know what I'm saying? So the team was stacked. He went on to go play in Japan, became a big time home run hitter over there in Japan. Came back, first season back, he hits 51 home runs. You know what I mean? You know, he was a big dude. Pitcher Doug Drabeck, he pitched for the majority of his good seasons were with the Pirates. I already named Darren Dalton. We had guys like Glenn Braggs, Rafael Belliard, infielder, Dominican infielder, played with a lot of teams, was an everyday shortstop uh, for a while. He had a good 14, 15, 16 season career. Mike Aldretti from the Giants, Paul Ossenmacher, John Candelosi, Kelly Downs, pitcher for the Giants, um, Dan Plesac, pitcher for the Brewers, Jamie Moyer, he pitched for the Cubs and Orioles, I think. Juan Guzman, not Juan Guzman, Jose Guzman. Juan Guzman came out a few years later and he pitched for the Toronto Blue Jays, Dominican. Jose Guzman was Puerto Rican, he pitched for the Rangers. We had, like I mentioned, Terry Mulholland earlier, Eric Plunk, A's pitcher, Bruce Ruffin. Um, he played with the Rockies, and before that, Bruce Ruffin played with the Phillies, I think it was. Kurt Stillwell played with the Royals. Greg Swindell, pitcher for the Indians. Bobby Witt, pitcher for the Rangers. Otis Nixon came out with the Indians, and he also played with the Braves. He was part of that Braves team that was always in the hunt. Ron Gant, Dave Justice, Terry Terry Pendleton, Sid Bream a little later, Jeff Blauser, Jeff Chadway, um, Dale Murphy, you know, all those guys. Oh, let's see, where am I at? Luis Quinones, he had a long career, bounced around, but he had a solid career. You know, he was a role player, utility player. Jeff Reed, pitcher. I believe Jeffrey was a pitcher. Now I'm thinking pitcher. Then I thought thinking catcher. I'd have to look that up. Bip Roberts played a lot. He played a good amount of years. Second baseman. Played majority with the Padres. I think he spent some time with the Cubs and I think maybe the A's too. Um, I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. Dave Slevin. I think it's Slevin. He played with the Brewers. Pretty long career, 10, 12-year career. Um, so, you know, a lot of these guys, like I said, you know, Canseco said straight up his numbers aren't good enough to get him in the Hall of Fame. He's got a 266 lifetime batting average of 462 home runs and 1,407 RBIs. You know what I mean? Compare that to Barry Bonds. He lifetime hitter 298, 762 home runs, so 300 home runs more. And then he's got 1,996 RBIs. So he's got over 500 RBIs more, almost 600 more. 300 more home runs, and about 32 points better batting average. Will Clark, 303 lifetime hitter. He hit 282 home runs with 1,205 RBIs. Ruben Sierra, 306 home runs and 1,322 RBIs. So, you know, all these guys, I mean, by Canseco's measurements, you know, he says he ain't get enough to get into the Hall of Fame. and we already know that they considered him. Some sports writers considered him strange or whatever. You know, it's quiet, not so much strange, maybe more quiet. Uh, but man, 462 home runs, and that's a lot of home runs. I mean, and then keep in mind too, he played from '85 to 2001, but '85 was his debut season, wasn't his rookie season. So really, it was '86 when he got a real solid season in which he became rookie of the year. He only batted 240, which is the lowest ever for a position player batting average, 240. But he had 33 home runs and 117 RBIs. Um, he had two full seasons. So you figure 86 to '01, that's considered 16 seasons of play. Uh, uh, well, actually, if you want to add 85, it'd be 17 seasons. But he wasn't, like I said, he wasn't considered a rookie until '86, where he had enough at bats, because that's what they based that off of, at bats. Um, he he had like full 2 seasons of injuries. So just imagine, you really, you take that off, you really only had 15 seasons of actual play. You know what I'm saying? Um, so if he wasn't injured like that, how much more, how much more would he have done? On top of that, he wasn't even 40. He was 36, 37 when they pretty much blackballed him for baseball for exposing a lot of players. And he tells a story, and I kind of mentioned it in the one video I did about him. He never expected that it was going to go that way. He thought, because it was an illegal substance at the time, he thought by him opening it up and telling the truth about himself and other people, that it was going to make other people come out, speak the truth, and then baseball was going to, somehow clean it up. Instead of not demonizing, but like putting that asterisk next to people's names that are tied to steroid use, like Barry Bonds. He's never been caught. He's never given a dirty test or anything, but yet he's still not in. Roger Clemens, same thing. So some people say, well, put them in the Hall of Fame and then put that asterisk next to their name. In a sense, if you ask me, that's like tainting it, though. That's like, it's not being legit about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, they're in the Hall of Fame, but you're saying, yeah, they're in, but they're different. You know what I mean? Again, I've said this before. I don't believe that by taking any of those PEDs, it makes this more stronger, or not even stronger, but just make this to here, meaning eye-hand coordination, to better it. Like emphasize it, put a magnify it. Like you do, like it does with your speed and strength, like it can do. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows that plays baseball. The harder the pitch is, you get somebody up there on the mound like a Nolan Ryan that's throwing 100-mile-an-hour fastballs. When somebody like Canseco makes contact with it, or Bonds makes contact with it, that some bitch is gonna go way out. It's like it puts more momentum on the ball after it's hit. Like once it's released from the mound, from the pitcher, the batter makes contact with it, especially in a nice fat spot of the bat. They're gonna hit that ball way out. That's why Canseco was blasting 500-foot home runs. You know what I mean? Hitting balls up in the third deck. That stuff's unheard of. Like, I mean, they're saying like guys like Aaron Judge, yeah, they're finishing with 50 home runs, but a lot of them are just barely going over the fence. I mean, either way, it's still a home run, right? I don't really get that part of it, but I mean, numbers, like I say, are facts. So if you hit a ball 500 feet, and somebody else only hits it 420 feet, obviously 500 is farther. So does that mean they're stronger, or does that just mean they got a hold of a nice pitch that was, served perfectly, and they were able to get it out of here? You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm at. That's the point of that. All there. You know what I mean? But uh, I would say out of this class right here that Canseco should be in the Hall of Fame. Barry Bonds definitely should be in the Hall of Fame. Uh, Barry Larkin deserves it. He's there. I'd probably say that's probably it out of all those guys. You know, maybe with the exception of Galarraga. Galarraga was there. I mean, as far as he hit 399 home runs, um, there's not too many. There's no. I don't think there's any Venezuelans in the Hall of Fame right now. We know that Cabrera will be there for sure. Miguel Cabrera. I'm trying to think. Ozzie Guillen, is he in the Hall of Fame? He might be. He's Venezuelan. Rookie of the Year, 1985, the year before this season. Um, so it's a possibility. Possibility that at some point maybe they get in with a veterans, uh, the veterans committee. Maybe they vote him in the Hall of Fame. You know what I mean? But as of right now, even though at that particular time, when you look back at 1986, a lot of names, not a good names, are there. But when it's computed into, uh, what Hall of Fame careers, it's not there. I mean, I think, like I said, I think Canseco should be in there. I think Barry Bonds should be in there, and I'm pretty strong with Andres Galarraga being there too. Other than that, Bo Jackson was cut short with career. Will Clark ended up fizzling more out as he got older in his career. Wally Joyner, same thing. Um, Bobby Bonilla, pretty much same thing. Ruben Sierra, he's probably to be the next one that's close, in my opinion. But it's still with the names that are in this draft. I mean, this rookie class, pretty big names for, especially during the time when I started watching baseball. When I was really into baseball, I should say, was around that time, 85, 86. There was a man that lived right around the corner from us, and he would sell baseball cards. He would open his garage and he would have cards out there, and that's how I started getting into it myself personally. You know what I mean? And it's hot, and so that's how I started getting into it. Me personally, uh, I remember too. He had the 87. It was the 87 Fleers. I remember just came out, and and I liked the way they looked. The 87 Fleer. They were like white border, and it had like blue and red little designs on the side. Um, so I like that. You know what I mean? That year, the tops were more plain. The Donruss 87 Donruss. I'm trying to remember what they looked like. 87 Donruss. Okay, I remember what they looked like. The 88 was the all blue border. The 87 was a same type of border, but it was a different color as was the 86. And then they had the Donruss Kings, with, and they also had MVP for each. They had a card that was the MVP for each team. You know what I mean? Um, and so that was just before the A's started on their run of having a strong team. 87, which was McGuire's rookie season. He was the MVP, AL MVP. He broke the previous home run record by Frank Robinson from back in the 50s. I think it was 1956. Robinson set it with the Reds. He hit 38 home runs, which was the record for the most home runs by a rookie. McGuire in '87 broke that with 49. That stood for like almost 30 years, about 30 years. And Aaron Judd broke it with 52. And then I didn't even realize until today. I thought Aaron Judd had that record. From what I found today, Alonso from the Mets, he broke that by hitting 53, like in 2021, I think it was. So I wasn't even aware of that. I was still giving it to Aaron Judd as the holding the rookie record. But yeah. So I just wanted to do a little different video of baseball, since baseball was my first love sport that I loved as a kid, was baseball. Spent a lot of time with dad outside playing catch and teaching me how to field and all, do all that. Take grounders, take hops, take fly balls, how to defend, all that stuff. So I got a lot of good memories of that, all that coming up as a kid with my pops. And so, yeah, just wanted to do something a little different. With that being said, as you can see, like I said, the A's, baby, Canseco came out that season. All right, he was one of my favorite players. My three favorite players at that time was Darryl Strawberry, Canseco, and Eric Davis. And the reason why I liked Canseco, obviously, he looked more like me. I looked more like him, obviously, than Darryl Strawberry and Eric Davis. And, Cuban, Puerto Rican right there, in the Caribe, in the Caribbean. And, yeah, he was just like, boom, wow, it was something. It seemed like it was, he's here Latino. You can do it, that type of thing. As a little kid, you know what I mean. But then I started getting more into basketball, and I like basketball a lot. You know what I mean. So, with that being said, Big Lou tapping out. Book him, Deno.